Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. Carl Jung. Imagine waking up and glancing at your clock. 11:11. Later, your coffee costs exactly 11:11. That evening, you receive a call from an unknown number ending in 1111. The universe seems to be speaking directly to you through this mysterious numerical pattern. But what does it mean? The phenomenon of seeing these repeating numbers is far more profound than mere coincidence. These numerical synchronicities have captivated human consciousness across centuries, appearing in ancient texts, mystical traditions, and modern spiritual practices alike. They represent what many believe to be cosmic signposts, guiding us toward greater awareness and spiritual awakening. The concept of synchronicity was formally introduced by Swiss psychologist Carl Jung in the 20th century, but the recognition of meaningful patterns has existed in human consciousness since time immemorial. Jung defined synchronicities as meaningful coincidences that occur with no causal connection, yet seem too meaningful to be mere chance. These events reveal a hidden order, an underlying pattern to existence that transcends our conventional understanding of reality. This particular numerical sequence holds special significance in the realm of synchronistic experiences. Often described as an activation code or wake-up call, it appears with such frequency and precision in the lives of many that it demands deeper examination. Ancient manuscripts and esoteric texts have long recognized the power of numerical patterns as gateways to higher understanding. The Sefer Yetzirah, one of the earliest extant texts of Jewish mysticism dating back to the 2nd century, speaks extensively about the mystical properties of numbers. This ancient text describes numbers not merely as mathematical concepts, but as cosmic forces that shape reality itself. The number 11, appearing twice in this sequence, represents a powerful amplification of energy, a doorway between dimensions according to these ancient teachings. Similarly, the Corpus Hermeticum, a collection of Egyptian Greek wisdom texts from the 2nd and 3rd centuries, discusses how certain numerical sequences serve as keys to unlocking higher states of consciousness. These texts suggest that when we encounter such sequences repeatedly, we are being invited to expand our awareness beyond the material world. But what makes this particular pattern special among numerical sequences? Why does it appear so frequently in our modern lives? The answer may lie in both its mathematical uniqueness and its symbolic resonance across multiple spiritual traditions. In numerology, the study of the mystical significance of numbers, 11 is considered a master number, a higher octave vibration that connects the material and spiritual realms. When doubled, its power is magnified, creating what numerologists call a portal of opportunity and enlightenment. This sequence serves as a cosmic alarm clock, awakening us to our higher purpose and potential. The ancient Egyptians, masters of astronomical alignment and sacred mathematics, understood that certain numerical patterns corresponded to cosmic cycles and celestial movements. Their temples and monuments were often constructed according to precise numerical ratios that reflected their understanding of universal harmony. While they did not specifically reference this sequence in their surviving texts, their profound appreciation for mathematical patterns as expressions of divine order provides historical context for our modern experience of numerical synchronicities. What if these recurring numbers are more than random occurrences? What if they represent moments when the veil between dimensions thins, allowing us glimpses of a greater reality beyond our everyday perception? The next time this pattern appears in your life, pause for a moment. Consider what thoughts were crossing your mind, what emotions you were experiencing. These synchronistic moments often occur when we are at important crossroads or when we need to pay attention to something significant unfolding in our lives. They invite us to look deeper, to question our assumptions about reality, and to open ourselves to the possibility of guidance from beyond the physical realm. But what exactly are these numbers trying to tell us? And how have ancient wisdom traditions interpreted such mysterious patterns throughout history? The phenomenon of numerical synchronicity finds remarkable parallels in ancient texts that have survived centuries of historical turbulence. These manuscripts contain wisdom that seems to anticipate our modern experience of numerical patterns as spiritual signposts. The Zohar, the foundational work of Kabbalistic mysticism written in the 13th century, speaks extensively about the mystical properties of numbers and their connection to cosmic consciousness. According to this profound text, numbers serve as bridges between the physical and spiritual realms. The Zohar describes how certain numerical sequences create openings or portals through which divine energy flows into our world. The number 11 holds special significance in Kabbalistic teachings, representing the transcendence of ordinary reality and connection to higher dimensions. Within the Zohar, we find the concept of Tzimtzum, the primordial contraction that created space for the universe to exist. This cosmological concept describes how the infinite divine presence contracted itself to allow finite reality to emerge. The numerical value of this process, according to some Kabbalistic interpretations, connects directly to these repeating digits, representing moments when the boundary between finite and infinite becomes momentarily transparent. The ancient Vedic texts of India, particularly the Upanishads composed between 800 and 500 before the Common Era, contain fascinating insights into the nature of reality that resonate with our modern understanding of synchronicity. These texts describe reality as an interconnected web, where seemingly separate events are actually part of a unified whole. The Sanskrit concept of nimitta refers to signs or omens that appear as guideposts on the spiritual journey. These signs often manifest as recurring patterns that catch our attention and direct our awareness toward deeper truths. The Upanishads teach that numbers possess vibrational qualities that influence consciousness. According to these ancient teachings, when we repeatedly encounter certain numerical sequences, we are experiencing a form of direct communication from the universal consciousness. The texts describe how these numerical patterns can serve as triggers for spiritual awakening, jolting us out of our ordinary perception and opening us to expanded awareness. Another remarkable ancient source is the Corpus Hermeticum, a collection of Egyptian Greek wisdom texts from the early centuries of the Common Era. These writings, attributed to the legendary figure Hermes Trismegistus, contain the famous axiom, "as above, so below," suggesting that patterns in the heavens are reflected in human experience. The Hermetic texts describe how celestial cycles and numerical sequences create resonances that can be perceived by the attuned mind. The Hermetic tradition teaches that numbers are not merely abstract concepts, but living forces that shape reality. According to these teachings, when we notice recurring number patterns, we are perceiving the underlying mathematical structure of existence itself. These moments of recognition represent opportunities to align our individual consciousness with cosmic intelligence. The Sefer Bahir, another foundational text of Jewish mysticism dating to the 12th century, contains profound teachings about the creative power of numbers. This text describes how divine energy flows through specific numerical channels to manifest reality. The Bahir speaks of 22 paths of wisdom corresponding to the Hebrew alphabet, with certain numerical combinations serving as keys to unlocking higher knowledge. According to the Bahir, when we encounter specific numerical patterns repeatedly, we are being shown the underlying structure of creation. These synchronistic experiences reveal the hidden architecture of reality, allowing us glimpses of the divine blueprint behind physical existence. The text suggests that by meditating on these numerical sequences, we can attune ourselves to cosmic rhythms and participate more consciously in the unfolding of creation. The Book of Abramelin, a 15th-century grimoire of Kabbalistic magic, contains specific references to the power of numerical sequences as tools for spiritual transformation. This text describes elaborate rituals and practices designed to align human consciousness with divine will. Central to these practices is the recognition of numerical patterns as doorways to expanded awareness. What connects all these ancient texts is their recognition that reality is not limited to what we can perceive with our physical senses. They suggest that beneath the apparent randomness of life lies a hidden order, a mathematical precision that occasionally reveals itself through synchronistic experiences like seeing repeating numbers. Could these ancient manuscripts contain the key to understanding our modern experience of numerical synchronicity? What wisdom might they offer to those of us who find ourselves repeatedly encountering these mystical number sequences in our daily lives? The ancient wisdom regarding numerical synchronicities finds surprising validation in the cutting-edge realm of quantum physics. This modern scientific field offers intriguing explanations for how phenomena like repeating number sequences might operate on a fundamental level of reality. Quantum physics has revealed that our universe behaves in ways that defy conventional logic. At the subatomic level, particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed, a phenomenon known as quantum superposition. Even more remarkably, particles that have once interacted remain connected regardless of distance through quantum entanglement, what Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance. The pioneering physicist David Bohm proposed a theory that aligns remarkably well with ancient understandings of synchronicity. Bohm suggested that our visible universe, what he called the explicate order, emerges from a deeper hidden level of reality he termed the implicate order. In this implicate order, everything is interconnected in a seamless whole. Synchronicities, like repeatedly seeing the same number pattern, might represent moments when this deeper level of reality becomes momentarily visible to our conscious awareness. The ancient text known as the Kybalion, purportedly based on the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus and published in 1908, presents 7 Hermetic principles that describe the nature of reality. The third principle, the principle of vibration, states, "Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates." This ancient teaching anticipates quantum physics by thousands of years, describing a universe of constant vibrational energy. According to the Kybalion, different vibrational frequencies correspond to different planes of existence. Numbers represent specific vibrational patterns, and when we repeatedly encounter certain numerical sequences, we are tuning into particular frequencies that can elevate our consciousness to higher planes. This ancient wisdom aligns remarkably well with quantum field theory, which describes reality as fields of vibrational energy. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, texts attributed to the ancient Egyptian deity of wisdom, contain passages that seem to describe quantum principles in metaphorical language. These texts speak of the interconnectedness of all things and the illusory nature of separation. They describe how certain numerical patterns serve as keys to unlocking higher dimensions of consciousness, doorways between worlds that allow us to perceive beyond the limitations of ordinary awareness. Quantum physicist Wolfgang Pauli, who collaborated with Carl Jung on the concept of synchronicity, proposed that the physical and psychological realms might be complementary aspects of the same underlying reality. Pauli suggested that the same organizing principles that govern the behavior of subatomic particles might also influence human consciousness and experience. This theory offers a scientific framework for understanding how meaningful coincidences like seeing repeating numbers could emerge from the fundamental structure of reality itself. The Nag Hammadi Library, a collection of early Christian and Gnostic texts discovered in Egypt in 1945, contains the Gospel of Thomas with its cryptic saying, "Split a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift up the stone, and you will find me there." This ancient teaching suggests that divine presence permeates all of reality, a concept that resonates with the quantum understanding of an interconnected universe where consciousness and matter are inextricably linked. Modern quantum theories like the holographic universe principle, proposed by physicist David Bohm and neurophysiologist Carl Pribram, suggest that our reality might be a projection from a more fundamental level, similar to how a hologram contains the whole image in each of its parts. This theory provides a scientific framework for understanding how synchronicities might function as glimpses of the whole pattern from which our individual experiences emerge. The ancient Chinese text, the Tao Te Ching, speaks of the Tao, the underlying principle that gives rise to all existence. The Tao is described as an undifferentiated whole from which all apparent diversity emerges. This concept parallels quantum field theory, which describes how particles arise from underlying fields of potential. The recurring numerical patterns might represent moments when we perceive this underlying field, the quantum potential from which physical reality continuously emerges. What if the ancient mystics and modern quantum physicists are describing the same reality from different perspectives? What if numerical synchronicities represent moments when these two ways of knowing, the intuitive wisdom of ancient traditions and the empirical discoveries of quantum physics, momentarily align in our conscious experience? The convergence of ancient wisdom and quantum understanding suggests that seeing these repeating numbers might be more than subjective perception. It could represent moments when we glimpse the underlying mathematical structure of reality itself, the cosmic code that generates our experience of existence. But how do these theoretical frameworks translate into practical understanding? What specific meaning might these numerical patterns hold for those who experience them regularly? The specific meaning of these repeating number patterns has been interpreted through various spiritual and metaphysical frameworks, each offering unique insights into this mysterious phenomenon. By examining these diverse perspectives, we can develop a more comprehensive understanding of what these numbers might be communicating. The Book of Urizen, composed by the visionary poet William Blake in 1794, presents a complex cosmology that includes numerical symbolism relevant to our understanding of these patterns. Blake described how human consciousness becomes trapped in limited perception, represented by mathematical precision and rigid numerical patterns. However, he also suggested that certain numerical sequences could serve as keys to breaking free from these limitations, doorways to expanded awareness and spiritual liberation. In numerological traditions, the number 11 is considered a master number that carries particularly powerful vibrations. It represents intuition, spiritual insight, and enlightenment. When doubled, these qualities are amplified, creating what numerologists call a power portal, a moment of heightened potential for spiritual growth and manifestation. According to these traditions, seeing these repeating numbers indicates that you are in alignment with your higher purpose and that the universe is supporting your spiritual evolution. The Kabbalah Center, a modern organization teaching ancient Kabbalistic wisdom, interprets these numerical patterns as signs of spiritual awakening. According to their teachings, this sequence appears when we are ready to transcend the limitations of our ego and connect with our higher self. The number 11 in Kabbalah represents the bridge between the physical and spiritual realms, and seeing it doubled suggests that this connection is being strengthened in your life. Doreen Virtue, a former psychologist who has written extensively on angel numbers, suggests that these repeating digits are signs of angelic presence. According to her interpretation, when you see this sequence repeatedly, your guardian angels are trying to get your attention. They are letting you know that you are on the right path and that they are supporting your journey. This perspective frames these numbers as a form of divine communication, a gentle reminder that you are not alone in your struggles and triumphs. The ancient manuscript known as the Pistis Sophia a Gnostic text dating from the 3rd century, contains teachings about the journey of the soul through various levels of consciousness. Although it does not specifically mention these particular numbers, it describes how certain numerical patterns serve as passwords or keys that allow the soul to pass through cosmic gateways on its journey toward ultimate liberation. This ancient perspective offers a framework for understanding these sequences as spiritual activation codes, patterns that help awaken dormant aspects of our consciousness. Greg Braden, a modern researcher who bridges science and spirituality, interprets these numerical patterns as signs of shifting Earth energies and human consciousness. In his book, Awakening to Zero Point, Braden suggests that as our planet undergoes electromagnetic changes, certain numerical patterns become more prominent in our awareness. He sees these repeating numbers as an indication that we are approaching a critical mass of human consciousness, a tipping point that could lead to global transformation. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth describe a concept called the Halls of Amenti, interdimensional spaces where higher knowledge can be accessed. According to these ancient texts, certain numerical sequences serve as keys to entering these halls. The repeated appearance of these numbers might indicate that you are being invited to access these higher dimensions of consciousness, to receive wisdom that transcends ordinary understanding. Indigenous wisdom traditions around the world recognize the significance of repeated patterns in nature as communications from the spirit world. Native American medicine people speak of synchronistic events as moments when the veil between worlds becomes thin, allowing messages to pass through. From this perspective, seeing these numerical patterns repeatedly might be understood as a form of communication from ancestors or spirit guides, a sign that they are present and offering guidance on your path. The practical implications of these various interpretations converge around several key themes. First, these patterns often appear during periods of transition or transformation in our lives. They serve as cosmic signposts, confirming that we are moving in the right direction despite any challenges or uncertainties we might be facing. Second, these numerical sequences frequently appear when we need to pay closer attention to our thoughts and intentions. Many who experience this phenomenon report that they notice these numbers when they are thinking about important life decisions or contemplating their purpose. The appearance of these patterns in these moments suggests that our thoughts are particularly powerful, that we are in a heightened state of manifestation where our intentions can more readily become reality. Third, these sequences often serve as a call to spiritual awakening, an invitation to look beyond the material aspects of life and connect with our deeper spiritual nature. Those who begin noticing these patterns frequently report subsequent experiences of expanded awareness, synchronistic events, and accelerated personal growth. But perhaps the most profound aspect of this numerical phenomenon is its deeply personal nature. While these general interpretations offer valuable frameworks, the specific meaning of these patterns in your life is ultimately revealed through your own intuitive understanding and the context in which these numbers appear. What thoughts were crossing your mind the last time you noticed these repeating digits? What challenges or opportunities were present in your life? The answers to these questions may provide clues to the personal message these numbers hold for you. Could the appearance of these numerical patterns be inviting you to pay attention to something specific in your life? What might change if you began to view these numerical synchronicities as meaningful communications rather than random coincidences? The phenomenon of seeing these repeating numbers often marks the beginning of a profound spiritual awakening process. This numerical pattern frequently appears as individuals begin questioning deeper aspects of existence and opening to expanded states of consciousness. But what exactly happens during this awakening, and how have ancient texts described similar processes? The Nag Hammadi codices, discovered in Egypt in 1945, contain Gnostic texts that describe spiritual awakening as a process of remembering our true nature. According to these ancient manuscripts, human beings exist in a state of amnesia, having forgotten their divine origins. The Gospel of Truth, one of these Gnostic texts, describes how certain triggers or catalysts can initiate the remembering process, awakening us from the sleep of ordinary consciousness. The repeated appearance of these numerical sequences might function as precisely such a trigger, initiating what the ancient Gnostics called gnosis, or direct spiritual knowing. Those who begin seeing these patterns frequently report a cascade of subsequent awakening symptoms. These often include increased intuitive abilities, heightened sensitivity to energy, vivid dreams, synchronistic experiences, and a growing sense of purpose or mission. These experiences parallel what ancient wisdom traditions have described as the awakening of higher faculties or spiritual senses. The Sefer HaZohar, the foundational text of Kabbalah written in the 13th century, describes the awakening process as the opening of inner gates of perception. According to this mystical text, human consciousness contains multiple levels or dimensions, most of which remain dormant in ordinary awareness. The Zohar teaches that certain triggers, including numerical patterns with specific vibrational qualities, can activate these dormant dimensions, allowing expanded perception and spiritual insight. The Tibetan Book of the Great Liberation, attributed to the 8th century master Padmasambhava, describes the awakening process as recognizing the nature of mind itself. This ancient text teaches that our true nature is already perfect and complete. But this recognition remains obscured by habitual patterns of thought and perception. According to Tibetan Buddhist teachings, certain signs or omens appear when we are ready to break free from these limitations, signals that the time for awakening has arrived. The repeated appearance of these numerical sequences might be understood as such a signal, a cosmic alarm clock indicating that it is time to awaken from the dream of separation. Many who experience this numerical phenomenon report a growing awareness of their thoughts as creative forces. They begin to notice how their mental and emotional states seem to manifest as external experiences with increasing speed and precision. This awareness parallels teachings found in the ancient Hermetic text known as the Divine Pimander, which states, "All that exists and all that is manifested is but the thought of God." This text describes how human beings, made in the divine image, also possess the power of creative thought, a power that becomes increasingly evident as consciousness awakens. The awakening process catalyzed by these numerical synchronicities often includes a profound shift in how we understand time. Many report experiencing moments of timelessness or perceiving multiple timelines simultaneously. This altered perception of time resonates with teachings found in the ancient Vedic text, the Yoga Vasishta, which describes time as an illusion created by consciousness. According to this text, as awareness expands, our relationship with time transforms. We begin to perceive its non-linear, multidimensional nature. The Corpus Hermeticum contains teachings about what it calls philosophical rebirth, a transformation of consciousness that allows direct perception of spiritual realities. This ancient text describes how this rebirth process often begins with signs or portents that catch our attention and disrupt our ordinary patterns of thought. The repeated appearance of these numerical patterns might function as such a sign, an invitation to the philosophical rebirth described in Hermetic teachings. Those experiencing this phenomenon often report a growing sense of connection with all life, an expansion of identity beyond the personal self. This experience parallels what the Upanishads describe as the recognition of Atman, individual consciousness, as identical with Brahman, universal consciousness. According to these ancient texts, this recognition represents the culmination of spiritual awakening, the realization that separation is an illusion and that all existence is fundamentally one. The practical implications of understanding these repeating numbers as an awakening code are profound. Rather than dismissing these numerical synchronicities as meaningless coincidences, we might choose to engage with them consciously, to use them as opportunities for deepening our spiritual practice and accelerating our evolutionary journey. When you notice these patterns, try pausing for a moment of mindful awareness. What thoughts were crossing your mind? What emotions were you experiencing? These moments of synchronicity offer valuable opportunities to observe your internal state and set conscious intentions for your ongoing awakening process. Many spiritual teachers suggest using the appearance of these numerical sequences as a reminder to align with your highest purpose and deepest values. Each sighting becomes an opportunity to recommit to your spiritual path and to express gratitude for the guidance and support you are receiving. This numerical phenomenon also invites us to become more attentive to other synchronicities and signs that may be appearing in our lives. As we develop this attentiveness, we begin to perceive a rich tapestry of meaningful connections and communications that were always present but previously unnoticed. What if these recurring numbers are not random glitches in our perception, but deliberate communications from a universe that is fundamentally conscious and responsive? What might change in your life if you began to engage with these numerical synchronicities as meaningful dialogues with the cosmic intelligence that permeates all existence? Could the repeated appearance of these mystical sequences be inviting you to remember something essential about your nature and purpose? Something you have always known at the deepest level of your being, but have temporarily forgotten in the dream of separation? As we conclude our exploration of this numerical phenomenon, we arrive at perhaps the most important question. How might we live differently if we embrace the reality of synchronicity and cosmic communication? The ancient wisdom traditions offer profound guidance for integrating these experiences into our daily lives. The Kybalion states, "The lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding." This Hermetic principle suggests that cosmic wisdom is always available, but can only be perceived by those who have developed the capacity to recognize it. The repeated appearance of these mystical number sequences might indicate that you are developing this capacity, that you are becoming attuned to the subtle language through which the universe communicates. Living in synchronicity involves cultivating what the Buddhist tradition calls mindful awareness, a state of present-moment attention that allows us to notice the meaningful patterns and connections that might otherwise pass unrecognized. The ancient text, known as the Dhammapada, advises, "The mindful one observes all things with clear comprehension." This quality of attention enables us to perceive the synchronistic flow of life and to respond appropriately to its guidance. The Tao Te Ching offers wisdom for navigating life through synchronicity rather than force or control. It teaches the principle of Wu Wei, action that arises naturally from alignment with the cosmic flow rather than from personal will or striving. The text states, "The master does nothing, yet nothing is left undone." This paradoxical teaching suggests that when we attune ourselves to synchronistic guidance, our actions become effortless expressions of universal intelligence, rather than products of struggle or strain. Many who experience these numerical patterns report discovering their life purpose or mission through following the trail of synchronicities that unfold from this initial trigger. The ancient Egyptian concept of Ma'at, living in harmony with the cosmic order, provides a framework for understanding this process. According to Egyptian wisdom, when we align our individual lives with the principles of truth, balance, and harmony represented by Ma'at, we naturally fulfill our unique purpose within the greater cosmic design. The practical application of living in synchronicity involves developing what might be called synchronistic intelligence, the ability to recognize, interpret, and respond appropriately to meaningful coincidences. This form of intelligence complements analytical reasoning with intuitive knowing, allowing us to navigate life through a combination of logical understanding and synchronistic flow. The Emerald tablets teach, as below, so above, as above, so below. This Hermetic principle suggests that by observing the patterns in our personal experience, we can gain insight into universal principles, and conversely, by understanding cosmic laws, we can better navigate our individual lives. These numerical patterns might be understood as a bridge between personal and universal, a point of connection where individual consciousness interfaces with cosmic intelligence. Living in synchronicity also involves developing trust in the unfolding process of life. The ancient wisdom text, known as the I Ching or Book of Changes, describes existence as a continuous flow of transformation governed by underlying patterns or principles. According to this text, when we learn to trust and flow with these patterns rather than resisting them, we experience harmony and fulfillment. The repeated appearance of these numerical sequences might serve as a reminder to trust this process, to have faith in the intelligent unfolding of your life even when the full pattern is not yet visible. The Pistis Sophia describes the spiritual journey as a process of ascending through various levels or dimensions of consciousness. According to this Gnostic text, each level requires different qualities or capacities. The appearance of these repeating numbers might indicate that you are approaching a threshold between levels, a point of transition that requires developing new faculties or releasing old limitations. For those experiencing this numerical phenomenon, certain practices can help deepen and integrate these synchronistic experiences. Keeping a synchronicity journal allows you to record patterns and connections that might reveal deeper meanings over time. By documenting when and where these patterns appear, along with your thoughts and circumstances in those moments, you may discover significant patterns that provide insight into your spiritual journey. Meditation practices, particularly those that cultivate present-moment awareness, can enhance your ability to notice and interpret synchronicities. Many traditions teach that in the space of silent awareness, we become more receptive to subtle communications from beyond ordinary consciousness. Contemplative practices like Lectio Divina, a form of sacred reading in which texts are engaged not merely intellectually, but as potential vehicles for divine communication, can be adapted to work with synchronistic experiences. By deeply contemplating the circumstances and qualities of your encounters with these numerical patterns, you may receive insights that would not emerge through analytical thinking alone. Community sharing can also enhance understanding of synchronistic experiences. Many who encounter these numerical phenomena find value in connecting with others who have similar experiences. These connections can provide validation, additional perspectives, and a sense of shared journey that enriches individual understanding. As we integrate synchronicity into our lives, we begin to experience existence as a continuous, meaningful dialogue between individual consciousness and universal intelligence. The boundaries between inner and outer, self and world, become increasingly permeable. We recognize ourselves as both receivers and transmitters in a vast network of conscious communication that permeates all existence. These numerical patterns invite us to remember our place within this greater whole, to recognize ourselves not as isolated individuals in a random universe, but as unique expressions of cosmic intelligence participating in the grand symphony of creation. Through this remembering, we discover a way of being that transcends the limitations of ego-centered existence and opens into the boundless potential of conscious co-creation with the universe itself. What might your life become if you fully embraced the guidance of synchronicity? How might your experience transform if you recognized each appearance of these mystical sequences not as a random glitch, but as a moment of communion with the intelligent universe that holds and sustains all existence? Perhaps the most profound invitation of this numerical phenomenon is to awaken to the miracle of existence itself, to recognize that every moment holds the potential for wonder, meaning, and divine communication if we have eyes to see and ears to hear. In this recognition, we discover that we have never been separate from the source of all being, that we have always been home, even in our apparent wandering. The next time these mystical numbers appear in your awareness, pause for a moment of gratitude and recognition. You are being reminded of something essential, something you have always known at the deepest level of your being. You are being invited to remember who you truly are and why you are here. You are being called to awaken. What insights have you gained about these numerical synchronicities? Have you experienced them in your own life? Share your stories and perspectives in the comments below. Your unique experience might provide valuable insights for others on this journey of awakening and discovery.